Oh my goodness, mic check 1 2 1
1
2.
2. There we go.
But Allen, you saw the intro.
I
Talk
saw
about
it.
first of all, let's
Fire,
talk about the intro, guy dog.
fire all the way. Well, I was over here bobbing my head, doing the drum beat show. This is all good for me.
Yes, sir. Hey, folks, welcome. Team No Sleep is in the building. We
Yes,
are
sir.
here. I'm James Hicks. I'm with my man, Mr. Montell Allen. We are kicking it off tonight. This is our pilot episode. So
Yes,
let's
sir.
let's see how it goes. I'm kind of already in a slightly disheveled mood because of what's behind me. But we'll talk about that in a minute too. So folks, check it out. Team No Sleep. Me and my man Montel. We're going to be talking about sports, talking about current news, current events, all the updates happening. Not just
Yep.
football, not
And
just
how it all intertwines with each other. How it all coincide and
soccer.
coexist with each other.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir. Right. So not just what's happening on the field, on the pitch, on the court, whatever, but again, everything from a societal and a cultural perspective. There's a lot of things happening outside of the game that are affecting society, and a lot of these stars within each sport are talking about that. We're talking about it, and we're going to bring those conversations up. So bear with us, work with us. We're going to grow this. We think this really is going to have some value in terms of just having an entertaining discussion. Enjoy the ride. We are actually going to be opening up the broadcast studio. So if you want to come on camera or come just on audio and join us and be part of the show, I'm going to shoot the link out in a second so you can have your turn to, I'm not going to say Monday morning quarterback because I think that's already a trademark term, but just be your own sports pundit as well and come online with us while we break it down. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Boom, boom. 1 2 knockout. Let's go.
All right, so let's start. I see we got some folks tuning in, so we appreciate y'all and shouts out for joining. I'm gonna take a little sip because NFL. We're gonna talk sports. Let's talk about football. Playoff time. A lot of games already done gone down. Today we had some interesting outcomes happening. Right. I think some of the games were almost we knew what was going to happen. Think about the Saints, right? I was watching the Saints, and you can never bet on against Drew Brees. You know he's going to do his thing, right? So you knew he was going to take down the Bears, but you want the Bears to win too. But you knew it was going to happen tonight when you got Drew
Yeah,
Brees back.
yeah. I'm thinking. He's a classic vet. He knows how to prepare for this moment. And you got to think it's contrast of two teams. Chicago, Trubisky, young quarterback, first time in, questionable leadership and talent as he's been throughout his career so far. Going to his first playoff game, jitters, nervous,
Yeah,
and going against Drew Brees, who's a seasoned vet, who's already been to the Super Bowl and who has a high caliber team. You already knew what was going to happen in that game. That game, you kind of could tell the story, tell the ending already from the beginning.
yeah.
And that's something amazing was going to happen. Just like yesterday's game, I think, which is probably the shocker, was the Rams beating Seattle.
Man, what happened to your boy Wilson, and where was the 12 at? Where? I mean, yeah,
I
no,
think
no fans and fans, but goodness gracious.
Mr. Metcalf met Mr. Ramsey and got shut down. That's what happened. Unfortunately, I mean, he put the clamps on him. I think the Rams' game plan was excellent. For some reason, Russell just looked rattled. I mean, it's just like their game plan didn't work. They didn't know what to do, and everything for the Rams did work. I mean, think about this for the Rams. It must have been the stars must be in the line. Your starting quarterback goes down. He has surgery the week before. Your
Yeah,
backup quarterback starts. He gets knocked out of the game.
in the
You,
first five
you know,
minutes, if
yeah,
that.
first fight, and then your other quarterback that was hurt, they just got off of surgery, comes in and orchestrates a win for you. I'm a big fan of the Rams hit staff and their coaching staff. I love their offense. I've been praising their offense forever because I just like the way I forgot it. I don't want to mispronounce the
Exactly.
coach's name. Yeah, McVay.
Yeah,
He's just man on point. His team was on point. They were focused. Their defense did everything it's supposed to do, and Seattle did everything they couldn't do. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't throw the ball. Russell couldn't buy any time.
Nothing.
And kudos to the Rams, man. But I mean, I think that was the number one shocker. If you're playing your parlay at the Indian Casino this week, that's the one that lost everybody their money. Let's be honest with you.
No,
Let's
that's
just keep it
true.
real.
And I've been a fan of the Rams and the Chargers just for the team perspective ever since Hard Knocks, right? Because they were the ones that were featured on that, and what Coach McVay has instilled into that team, the way they get down, the way they go about their business was impressive. But you're right, man, to have a boy come in just after having that thumb surgery and then to come in and do what they needed to do against the Seahawks, against a Pete Carroll team, man.
Yeah, see, and the Seahawks defense is just horrible. I mean, I didn't want to believe it all year, but they just played.
Yeah, they
were exposed.
It's not the boom, right? They're not doing it.
They're the Legend of Boo. They're Legend of Boo Boo right now. They was at home, man. But I mean, they played. They're all professionals. I know they're good. I just think, and at the NFL, you can tell it's all about schemes. Your schemes.
Yeah.
I think Rams had the perfect scheme in place, and I think Seahawks, the way it looked like, they thought they were just going to come in and just steamroll those guys, and there was another thing coming. They got popped in the mouth, and they didn't know how to react. Kind of just like a fight. You don't know what's going to happen until you get hit. They got hit, and they didn't know how to react, and they went down. Period.
And the more scrappy you are, right, I think you're just going to go at it like you had nothing to lose. And that's kind of what I think about the Bills, right? Because look, again, you want your boy Phillip Rivers. I mean, been around. He's got the records. He's been throwing bombs. He can throw that football 80 yards, but they came up short they lost by 3 points down at the very last minutes. But them Buffalo Bills,
man, I think the Colts are on the right move. I mean, they did everything right, and they did everything good. Bills just did it a little bit better. And I feel sorry. I shouldn't say I feel sorry. The dude's a millionaire. I don't feel sorry for none of them dudes. They all making money. But I'm saying I do understand from a competitive standpoint, I feel sorry for Phillip Rivers that he wasn't able to get over that hump being with the Colts. But, I mean, I think he has them going in the right direction. I don't think they're missing any pieces. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. That game if you would have gave that game 5 more minutes, it could have went to the Colts. They got the ball one more time and one more, it would have been the Colts win. It just fell into Josh Allen. I think it's Josh Allen's in their year at the Bills because they've been playing that way solid all year, doing everything they're supposed to do right. They got to this point. They were to get over the hump and win. Now we're going to see the real test next week when they play. But, I mean, I'm excited, man. I mean, as far as from a football standpoint, it's nice to see the young guns kind of taking the reins. The Josh Allen's is taking over and all that other good stuff. So, man, I think the Bills got something to say for the next couple of years.
Yeah,
with the playoff things going.
Josh can throw that ball. He's tough out there, man, too. We got to be tough to play in New York and play for the Bills. That Bills Mafia don't play. So, I almost wish that game in particular, I wish that they hadn't gone for the touchdown on that last play. They should have either tried to not be comfortable, not be content, but just be what had the highest ratio of possibility of continuing the game instead of just going for a long bomb.
But you know the cardinal rule: if you're in the opponent's backyard and you got a chance to go win it, you go win it. You don't go for the tie. So I think that old school mentality set in. I mean, the way Rivers was playing, why not? I mean, they were. It wasn't like they weren't moving the ball on the Bills. They kept moving the ball. They kept doing what they had to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a coin flip. Do I go for the safe bet and go into overtime and play longer? Or I'm like, look, let's go for the gusto and let's see if we can put these dudes away and move on to the next round. I think that's throw your chips in and throw all your chips in and let's go. I think they threw all the chips. I think they threw the chips in and they just fell a little bit short. So, but I think Phillip Rivers will be back next year. I don't think he's going to retire no time soon.
What?
I don't think he's retiring. I think Phillip's going to come back one more year. I mean, man, what they putting in the water with him and Brady, man, them dudes probably going to play to like 55 years old because the skills aren't diminishing. You know what I'm saying? It's not going nowhere.
Good, good truth, and good segue to Tom Brady, Tampa Brady, however he's coined the whole name of the city now, because nothing like the Buccaneers being in the playoffs. That don't even sound right coming out your mouth. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are back in a divisional game.
Man, I mean, Brady is ageless, homie. I mean, he's just. I mean, he can. If you get a man time, he can surgically just pick apart any defense. The question is giving him time. Now, this week they were able to. I know Alex Kappa, the starting center, he broke his ankle, so he won't be back this next week.
Okay.
So I think this coming up week game, it may be a different story for him. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if the Bucks are able to figure out how to give Brady time, there's no defense in the NFL that he can't surgically pick apart.
That's a trip, right? Because you think about it, all this time, you got all these players, you got all these valuable, you got these weapons, you got all these assets, but it really is driven by the quarterback, right? Either experience or just being able to see the field, understand the game, slow down the tempo, those kind of things. You're right. Brady's 85 years old right now, and he's
Still,
out there. He don't run, right? You
mm-mm.
saw his 40 time when he was at the combine. That's not
Yeah,
his talent, but
yeah.
he can read a defense like nobody else. He got a hard count, and
Mm.
he can pick up them short slant passes. And not he's got Antonio Brown. He's got his
Yep,
boy Gronk back with him.
yep.
I mean, he's got all these
Mike
weapons.
Evans. He got
Mike
Mike
Evans.
Evans. He got
He's
Ronnie
got
Jones in the backfield.
come on
I
now.
think I think with them, it's all about. And I don't even think it starts with Brady. I think it starts with the offensive line. If that offensive line can
Yeah,
protect,
yeah,
then the game's over with. I think for whoever they're playing their opponent. I don't think they don't really even need a running game with Brady because he's so good at picking people apart and finding the open man that
yeah.
they just need to be able to give him time. And we saw all the games they lost this year. He had no time. When teams are blitzing him and he can't get and he doesn't have any time, that's when the Bucks are in trouble. But when he has time, he shreds everybody in the NFL apart. No disrespect to no secondaries, no disrespect to no linebacking core, no disrespect to no defensive coordinator. But let's give the man his flowers while he's playing. He's one of the goats, man.
It
You
is.
can't argue it.
Can't take it away. He's got six
Mm.
rings. He's gonna have. He's gonna get another one before he finally hangs up the cleats. But
Yeah,
he's got six, and that you cannot take that away from him.
absolutely.
Uh, Ravens, Baltimore, they did a little
Hmm.
something. Well, you kind of hope they would.
Hmm.
Baltimore out there trying to do some things and not have that. He is Mr. Madden Sports right now. You would hope that they would continue on with something.
Yeah, to me, Lamar's is interesting. And this is my take, and I look at it a little bit different. Lamar, what's funny, Lamar had a big year last year where he was, considered MVP and doing all those things, and everybody was like, "Oh, this guy's going to be amazing." And this year, he's not as successful. And it's not a discredit to Lamar; it's a credit to defensive coordinators in the NFL. They figured out ways how to slow him down, and make him polish up on the things he needs to work on, which is being able to throw out of the pocket because those lanes aren't going to be there all the time when they put a fast linebacker or safety, spying you. He needs to be able to learn to be able to read defenses more and not rely on his athletic ability every time he plays the game. I think that's the difference between him and Mahomes. Mahomes is able to recognize and does the homework and doesn't rely on his natural ability. He relies on what he sees. Where Lamar has been so gifted and so blessed, where his athleticism has been able to just take him places no one even know. I mean, just to almost to the MVP, to be honest with
Yeah,
you, or to the MVP.
yeah,
But I think this year it caught up with him. But I do believe with these things, great athletes learn to adjust
yeah,
as they got better. He's hitting his stride now going into these playoffs. He's starting to figure out what they're doing to him and making other things happen. I believe that Baltimore needs to get it. I mean, I think they need to add a few more pieces. I don't think they're quite going to get over the hump to get to the Super Bowl yet. I could be wrong, but Lamar is here to stay, and that kind of dynamic quarterback is here to stay, which I'm happy. You
yeah.
know,
It's kind of back to the old big days, right?
yes,
And it's also you talk about Mahomes. It's the multi-sport quarterbacks, right? The ones
hmm
who probably could have gone into and played baseball, professional
hmm
baseball, or whatever the case may be. But they've got those skills, right? You see
hmm
Mahomes make some circus passes and laterals and whatever the case
yeah,
may be. Not everybody can do that, and
yeah,
those are the quarterbacks I think that we're seeing flourish right now in this new game.
yeah. I think the game is just. I mean, since it's a pretty much an RPO runner pass type of lead now because the running back is a little bit less obsolete. I wouldn't say he's obsolete because you need a running game to sustain your win when you get a big lead. But I believe the way the game is being played, you have to have that dynamic quarterback to be able to do things in by times. Now, don't get me wrong, there's guys that can, like the Brady's and the Rivers, that they're so good and so precise they don't have to. But that's aging out.
Sure.
That's not the college game anymore. That's not the high school game anymore. Those guys are aging out, and those guys, I hate to say it, it's kind of like a dinosaur. Those guys aren't around as much. It's now the year of the Jacksons, the mobile,
Yeah.
fast quarterback that can make all kinds of moves and make all kinds of reads and do different things. And like I said, the difference between Mahomes and Jackson's athletic ability is probably far above Mahomes, but Mahomes, I think football IQ is that much far ahead of Jackson's when it comes
Yeah.
to reading different schemes and schemes and defenses. And also, you have the weapons that are around him. I think Mahomes is very familiar with all his weapons.
Yep.
Jackson is still in the process of getting familiar with
He's
his.
still learning them. He's still learning them. But again,
Yes.
those guys can sit in the pocket. They can read the defense. They can slow the game down. And those
Mm-hmm.
are folks that don't get frazzled by when you got someone like Ndamukong Suh coming at you full on
Mm-hmm.
steam, or Khalil
Yeah,
Mack coming for your head, right? You got to be able to adjust to those kind of things. Or one of them Watt brothers, right?
yeah.
Or it was a TJ, one of them Watt brothers coming after you.
Yeah.
No problem.
And it's funny because we were talking about it earlier when we were talking about Cam. Cam was that guy. Cam
Yeah.
Newton was that guy that we all loved in North Carolina when he was at Carolina. The dynamic things he's been to do. But again, like you said, the way his game was dynamic wasn't able to slow the game down for him. Now let's not knock it. Now Cam's defense, he's been beat up every year because they let him hit him. They let guys hit him for no reason all the time.
Mhm.
I don't think the shoulder surgery didn't help him at all.
No.
And I believe Cam's demeanor can rub some people off the wrong way. The way he is, kind of his character, the way he presents himself is
Right.
not acceptable by everybody. But I think skill wise and skill set, it showed this year that his skills have diminished some. He's not the same Cam that we used to be able to do. I'm hoping it's just a Belichick thing, his system that limit him, but I don't think so. I think Cam's skills set has diminished. I mean, when you go into games and he starts the whole game and he's only throwing for 79 yards, that's a problem in the NFL. That's not an NFL quarterback quality kind of quarterback. And I hope the man lands on his feet somewhere coming into next year. But I believe it's the game is starting to pass Cam by. You got to be you have to be a Lamar Jackson. You can't be a Cam Newton, but you have to be a Lamar Jackson in order to be impressive in the league right now.
Yeah, I think along those lines, I think it's, again, he hasn't fully healed up, right, from all of
Yep.
those.
Yep.
Because
Mm-hmm.
he puts his body, on them short third and goal or whatever, those instances where he's actually running the ball, he's literally going in there trying to take all that contact. He's not skating it, right? He's
Yeah.
his shoulder square and going down. So that you can't do that if you're the quarterback. Get the ball to your running back, full back, somebody else besides you.
Yeah. And let's be real. The one tackle you can't escape is Father Time. When Father Time got his eyes on you, brother, man, you ain't breaking that tackle.
Yeah, and I wonder, and I don't know, right? But I just wonder if he's taken as good care of himself physically and nutritionally, right? So we talk about Brady, right? We know Brady doesn't eat anything except grass, and his diet is completely clean. It's completely regimented in terms of the things that he eats, right? He's focused on that. He trains that whole TB12 mentality. I've been to Boston. I kind of seen some of the stuff behind what he incorporates into those programs. Again, I don't know. I'm just talking. I'm just being the pundit here, just trying to make some noise, bringing out some comments and see if that'll happen. But I just don't know if some of these other cats are doing it to that level and that degree. Yeah, he's reading the book. He knows the playbook forward and backwards. He can do all that stuff, but taking care of himself internally, I just don't. Right?
I think that separates the good from the great, right? The Brady's, the regimen, the study of the playbook, the understand not only that, but the things you do off the field with his body as far as his diet and his exercise.
Yeah.
Though that is something that he's able to do, and that separates. That's why he's one of the greatest. Where Cam, love him, trendsetter, difference maker, but is he considered a great? And we've seen the way he presents himself and he does things. Does that transcend the same thing as Brady? No, it doesn't. That means Cam was a good quarterback in comparison to the great. I mean, the Mannings did the same thing. The Montanas back in the day, all those great ones, the Marinos and all those great, the John Elways, they all did they did everything they needed to do off the field, after the games, and all that stuff. Cam seems a guy that, he wanted to focus attention on him by wearing the wild clothes, doing all the other extracurricular stuff and doing all that. And I don't, like you said, being pundit, I don't know if that transcended on the off the field, study film, being that leader.
Yeah, well,
your regimen,
at 4 o'clock in the morning. Were you in the weight room? You may have been there at 6 o'clock, like you were supposed to. But I'm sorry, Mr. Brady is there at 4 o'clock in the morning, and those kinds of things. But I'm sure something to happen. It'll change. He's got leadership around him. So Belichick is no joke. Belichick is do your job. So if he stays with New England, he's gonna have to get it right, or he's gonna find himself.
I believe they cut him already. They cut him already. I think they cut him already, but I think they're going to be, or they just said they're not going to resign him, but they may resign him for a cheaper price. You know, if he comes in
Yeah.
something a lot less, they may want to resign him. But I just see Cam going somewhere different, and I mean, and I believe at this point in his career he's going to have to accept the backup role, not the starting role. I'm not quite, I think it's going to be like a Marietta situation, be a backup, go there, and then if the situation or the opportunity presents itself, hopefully you can come in and do your thing, and now. Going into the following fall camp, it could be a discussion who's going to be the starter. Like it will be with Marietta and Carr, I think, going into this year.
So no Vegas because you got Marietta and you got Carr there. We were talking off scene about sending them to Washington.
Yeah.
Look, I'm an Alex Smith fan too. Look, I love a story, and I love the story that he got toe up, and then he had the surgeries and came back, was able to play. I love that, but again, right now he's down because of the legs.
Yeah, but I was telling you, I believe his leadership and his mentorship is in developing the guys they have is more valuable than bringing someone like Cam in to compete for a starting job. Because I think they got quarterbacks that are there. They got they got the guys that are there. Alex is a mentor. Alex is a guy that can even play. If the situation presents itself, he can go in the game and play. I think he's on a trajectory to become a coach. Alex Smith will be a coach, I think, someday at the NFL level. I mean, he's been around a lot of coordinators. He shows he can mentor. He shows he's very humble. He's a very humble guy. I mean, and I recommend anybody, and I'm not an ESPN up, but if they do, give me my money. But if anybody gets a chance to watch that documentary on Alex Smith, I don't think you guys realize what that man went through in order to get back to this situation.
That's true, man. That was like 17 surgeries or something, and he almost lost his leg, almost lost his life over that whole situation. So major props on that whole thing for sure.
Absolutely. So, I think he's on that pathway. I think he's just got a lot of great qualities about him that you always would want around your team, any team, if it's no matter what sport. He has those qualities that you always want around a team. And I'm a big Alex fan. I was a fan of his when he was in San Francisco. I was a fan when he was in Kansas City. I was a fan when he went to Washington. I think the guy's he caught a bad rap in the beginning of his career because 49ers were going through all those transitions and he had to endure all those different coordinators. He found his niche with Harbaugh. He was able to take that niche and he was tearing it up in KC till he got hurt.
Yep.
And then he was tearing it up in Washington till he got hurt. So the dude could play football. That's not, and he's a winner. So there's no doubt about that. I just believe the man's got a lot more. I think he has a lot more of those intangibles to be able to offer a team than to bring Cam in. And I think Cam will be more of a distraction than developing these younger guys, getting ready to go.
That's true. Let me interject right quick because folks watching, I got the TV on and I know right now there's a Geico commercial, but it's got my game on, right? I'm trying to will the Steelers past these Browns. I'm not sure what's going on. We need to call Coach Tomlin and see what's really happening because right now I see the score is 28-0. 28-0. So I'm having problems with that, but we got the game on for y'all to watch, multitask. You listen to Mr. Montell and myself and watch the game in the background. So I know what's happening, y'all. It's a perfect distraction.
As a matter of fact, great segue. Let's ponder into the question I asked you about the Steelers. If they lose this game, which looks like they're going to,
why you got to jump like that? You see, you already got me drinking, right? I wasn't supposed to dip into the scotch just yet, and now you already got the Steelers.
It's 28 goose egg right now going in the second quarter, man. And it looks like they might score again. But I'm saying, if they lose this game, do the Steelers bring back Ben? Do they bring back or Tomlin? Do they bring back either one of them, or do they cut both the ties with both of them?
Wow, man, that's legacy right there, right? Yeah, they got the ring and everything, but
I love Tomlin. I think he's a great coach, but I believe he's lost. He's lost ever since they went on this losing streak. They went on this losing streak at the end of the season and coming to now.
Yeah.
It just seems like there's something that is missing with him being able to connect with the team.
Man, you threw me for a loop on that because Tomlin is, when Coach speaks, you definitely want to be listening, and he speaks with such authority and such earnest, and he's a great leader. But you're right. To at the end of the season to start off so hot and then come back and lose those 4 games as bad as you did, I even question why you would sit Ben and bring in the other quarterback right and for that game. I think Ben is near the tail end of his valuable career in Pittsburgh. I could see him even moving on or something. But yeah, that's a hard question to even answer. I think there has to be some changes for sure, and they got to start at the top if they don't make it past this round. If this continues to go like this tonight, tomorrow morning, there'll be two stories in the news, right? There'll be some impeachment stories about 45, and we'll hear that the Pittsburgh Steelers have made some movements in the front office. To be honest,
I completely agree. And like I said, I love Mike Tomlin. I think he's one of the best coaches in the NFL, bar none, because he's been able to do some amazing things. Well, not with a lot of talent around him. I'll tell you that straight up.
Yeah.
But I believe though, in the situation the Steelers are in and how good they are, and such a tradition with their organization, that there has to be some type of change. And I don't want him to be fired. I really don't want him to be fired. I don't. But I believe, though, you have to explore that if you want to change the dynamic of your team. You got a lot of young guys. You got Chase. You have Juju there. You have the running back there from Pittsburgh. It's his second year. You have some offensive weapons there. The defense is still pretty good.
Yeah.
And we're not able to get over the hump. It's your job. If your department's not performing, they don't look at you. They look at your department head and say, okay, you got to go. You're going to go.
Yep, it rolls down.
You're going to go, and then we'll fire all the rest of them behind you. But the top dog going to get cut first, and then we're going to cut the rest of them. So does it go to Tomlin first and say, you know what, hey, man, it's time for us to move on and move in a different direction? And I don't know how that's all going to work. I really don't, man. Like I said, I like Pittsburgh. I think they've always been a competitive team and been great. But at this point right now, with the debacle they had at the end of the season and tonight's game where they were supposed to come in this.
Yeah, this is terrible now.
What do they do? What are the Pittsburgh Steelers supposed to do? The fans. What are the fans and what are the staff and what's the company? What the organization?
Yeah, I got my terrible towel out here. I'm not even gonna bring it up because right now it's just not right. I got ESPN and the headline right now is what in the world? Browns counts on the Steelers from the jump. So that's where it is right now, and we got to go and put y'all in the background. Let's piggyback. Let's go back to this question we got here from Shalala Productions. That's my boy Robert right there asking about a final destination for Cam, and so we were kind of saying, don't know, right? I mean, it's definitely time for him to maybe go into a different role. He's definitely not the same superstar that he was a few years ago. Doesn't seem to be getting the grasp of the Bill Belichick, just do your job kind of thing. Just hasn't been able to focus on that. So who knows where he's going to go, but it's definitely not going to be starter.
I don't think he's going to be a starter. No, not right now. And I believe Cam's final. Me personally, I think Cam's best scenario for him, where I would love to see him as a backup in Atlanta. I would love to see him as a backup in Atlanta. I think that would be a great fit. I know Matt Ryan's fired right now, but I believe if Matt goes down, he would be a great insurance for them. I believe somewhere like that would be really ideal for him to land. I don't think there's anywhere he's going to be able to compete for a starting job. And to be honest, even the places that need him, I mean, the Jets are going to go get Trevor Lawrence, or he's going to end up in Jacksonville. Jacksonville's not going to make that investment, and I don't think it can because they want a young guy that's going to be there for the face of the franchise.
True.
Cam is not a face of the franchise anymore. He's a guy that's going to have to become that role player and that quarterback that's there. And like I said, I love the dude. I'm one of the biggest fans. I thought the dude came in there, he was tearing it up. But now at this point in his career, it's like, where is he able to go and make an impact on a team? There's nowhere. I don't think there's nowhere in the league going to be a starter. I really don't. At this point in his career,
it's too tough, right? It's just, I mean, the selection is too great in terms of a high caliber minds and arms out there. So at that position,
and then we got to think on Cam. How much less money is he willing to take to go play?
Oh, you got to get him his money. All them hats that he be wearing, you got to give him his money for the hats.
So does Denver take a chance on him and pay him? No, they're not. I'm not going to invest $5 million, $7 million in a quarterback with diminishing skills coming off of shoulder surgery and having the season that he had in New England. No. I mean, and that's a putting on the GM hat. Like we're not speaking football. We're speaking business wise. Yeah. Business wise, you don't do it. Yeah. It's just it doesn't make sense to do that. And love the guy's character. Love dude when his past he was great, but current state today right now, if I'm building a team, I don't add Cam Newton to it. I just don't, and it hurts my heart because I don't think he's willing to take that backup role. True. I think he wants to come in there and compete for the starting role, and the skills aren't there.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. He's sitting at home right now. We'll find out.
And I may be wrong. That's probably why I'm not a GM in no NFL team. probably go end up somewhere and win a Super Bowl next year. For all I know, who knows, man? I'm just speaking for what I think.
Yeah, that'd be a good story. So about 80% of, speaking of Super Bowl, 80% of the divisional playoffs have already been called. We still just waiting on this game behind me to get.
You mean 100% been called?
See, there you go. So what we got? Let me move on down the line. You started trouble. So the Rams are going to be playing Green Bay on Saturday at 1:35 p.m. Pacific time on Fox. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing the Saints on Sunday at 3:40 p.m. That's going to be a good game. When you got Breeze and Brady playing, that's must-see TV right there. I want to see Aaron Rodgers do his thing because I love the way he passes the ball. But man, that's Saturday. Okay, no, I can get both of those. That's Saturday and Sunday. And then on the AFC side, it's either the Ravens or the Steelers going to play Buffalo, or it's going to be the Ravens or the Browns playing Kansas City. So we'll see. It's going to be good though. It's going to
be I think the cream rises to the top, as they say. All these teams deserve to be in there. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see the Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Smith going against Ramsey on the Rams. That should be good. But it's going to be in Green Bay, so they got that advantage with that cold weather. And let's see what the Rams can kind of bring that. Like you said, must-see TV is Breeze and Brady.
Yeah.
But if it comes to anything like they played in the regular season, it should be a really, really good game.
Yeah.
And then Ravens versus Kansas City. I think Kansas City is too much right now. I think with a week off too, I think they're too much. But I mean, we got the Lamar Jackson. What he can do, he might change the whole dynamic of the game. You never know. And then the Bills.
Ooh, you just don't know. Josh Allen, he got that of an arm, but he'll throw something all the way to the street.
Him and Stephon, man, is just doing too much. Yeah. They're just doing too much right now. So I think going to Buffalo and playing is going to be it's going to be hard for people to win in Buffalo, especially since this weather's changing, man. This weather's going to do some stuff to some of these guys. I think, change the dynamic games.
That's true. So before we go into college, talk a little bit college, I will answer this. I'm going to answer this. I'm going to say my Steelers going to go into the locker room, slap themselves around, and Coach Tomlin going to give him piece of his mind, and they're gonna come out and find a way to make it competitive. That's all I want. Make it
42-14, game's over, bro.
Yeah,
I'm calling right now.
The show is over right now. Let me go ahead and put the outro on. We done. See, the pilot is the last show. We're not doing the
beginning of the end.
Yeah. All right, and so next time we'll talk about predictions for the big game because it's still too early. It's still too fluid to make predictions about the Super Bowl.
Yes, sir.
That's gonna be a trip though. Still to think about Super Bowl, no one's gonna be there.
No one. I don't even know how they play now with nobody in there, man. I mean, can you imagine? These are like scrimmage games, but they count. So I can't.
Piping in noise.
Yeah, there's not. You can't change it. You can't do the fan. The fans is completely different. You can't hear the noise. I mean, I've been to a couple of games this year, not pros, but college games, and you can hear the players talking on the sideline. And all it's just a real different. It's a different dynamic, And we know that they going after the TV money and they entertain us, which I appreciate 100%.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine being the player playing with no fans. It's like.
Yeah, that's just got to be. I've been to a lot of Niner games, right? And just being in there and just the rumble and just the whole dynamic of it is stomping around either way, depending on if you're off of the defense. But yeah, just to have piped in noise right now and you can't celebrate. I think that takes a whole aspect out of the game as well, right? So that's a mentality I think for the players as they're trying to ramp themselves up for a particular play for whatever the case may
Hmm.
be. If you don't have
Yeah,
someone
that.
out there, so the Lambeau leap, right? So your Packers, who are
Yeah.
they jumping to? Nobody did no Lambeau leaps this season.
Well, what's funny is funny because, like you said, that energy you drive that energy off of hearing that crowd and hearing that noise and all that good stuff. And I don't even know where they draw their energy from. I mean, X's and
Yeah.
O's are one thing, but I mean, if you have no energy, it's real hard.
No.
You can turn around, look, your boys just score. So
Oh, hold on. Pause. Wait a minute.
yeah, yeah. You got
Okay.
one in there.
right before halftime. See, there you go. There's momentum to go into halftime with at least.
You know,
Now let's at least make the extra point. We got the extra point. All right. So 28-7.
yeah,
Come on,
yeah.
Steve. Don't let
But
us.
yeah, but I mean, that energy. I think they're not able to feed off their energy. I think it's something they're having in sports. I mean, I think baseball is probably the only one that can kind of really deal with it and be real effective because their game is more slowed down anyway. It's
Yeah.
not a big cheering thing. But basketball and football, you thrive off the crowd yelling. You thrive off the booing. You thrive off of the towels in the air swinging and all those things. That gives you that extra umph when you want to play, and it distracts the other teams. And them not being able to do that, man. I'm crazy. And like you said, the Super Bowl, what the biggest event and one of the biggest events in the world, will
Ever.
have no
Yeah.
fans. Yeah, we'll have no fans.
I mean, and of all sports, right? So you talk about basketball. I'm not even following basketball right now because so last year with COVID and lockdown and them being a
Mm-hmm.
bubble, just the whole feel of the games was different. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even realize when it started. I didn't even realize that the NBA season started.
Yep.
Right? I
Yeah.
still thought they were playing preseason and not even at the start of the regular season. So there's some things that are happening there, and even so on the NBA side, even though they had a good bubble last year and they didn't have a whole lot of cases with COVID, this season they having some problems, right? I was
Yeah.
reading like the Sixers had
Yeah.
nine
Mm-hmm.
players out for their last game, and then just recent game against the Heat and the Celtics has been postponed because folks haven't been heeding the guidelines and they messed around getting put
I'm,
on.
I think let's be realistic with everything.
Mm,
These are every team has 15 recognizable people that are superstars. Period.
mm,
And you're asking these young men from the ages of, let's say, 19 to 33 to say, I'm going to every city, stay inside your room, don't do anything. And I believe the veteran guys will. The guys that
yeah,
are 28 and above, they'll be like, yeah, no, no, we completely understand. But you get guys that are 26 years old with money like that going to each one of these towns that already think they're invincible because they're superstar athletes and all this stuff. You're gonna get them going to these places and these things. And I don't realize they don't. I don't think they have educated themselves enough to say, hey, this stuff can spread anywhere.
yeah,
You know, this stuff can spread like it is now. I believe what the NBA needs to do is me personally, I think what they should do if they really want to stop these guys from doing it. My perspective is if you catch it or you're being exposed to it, not only do you have to go down to the G League for
oh,
10 days, we'll bring somebody from the G League to take your spot. That way the games can keep on going.
oh, you talk about some ramifications. Okay,
Why not? I mean, because of the point. This is your job, and
yeah,
me and you at our job, we would get in trouble if
yep,
we didn't follow guidelines. Right? This is the bottom line. If you don't follow guidelines, you're either gonna you'll get warned about it.
yeah,
They'll take corrective action, and eventually, if you keep doing it, they will fire you.
true, true.
Why is that any different for these guys in the NBA? You should go down to the G League and play for those that you get quarantined for 10 days and you have to play in the G League for 10 days and then you can come on back up. And that way it gives some guys from the G League the experience to playing in the NBA. I think it would be a win-win for both. But then now we don't have to stop games.
Yeah.
Because
But
why is the
see,
guy in the G League's following the rules, but a guy because you're in the NBA, you're not playing the rules.
now you
And
messing with the pocketbooks, right? So now you making them own it, right? So
there's no, but the thing is, this is the best year to do it because there's no fans in the stands. So I'm not paying my
mm,
$200 to come watch you play. I'm
that's
watching
true.
you just on TV,
That's
and they're
true.
getting the TV money regardless, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I truly believe they get the money. So why would we reward guys in the G League to give them an opportunity to come up and play and showcase their talent? And we should be punishing the guys that don't follow rules to go down
That's
and
true.
say, hey, you know what? You go down there and play for 10 days. I know you don't like it, but you're gonna ride that bus to Arkansas, wherever, New Jersey, and play that little game where they ain't got nobody there for 10 days. Then you'll get a fine appreciation what it is
Yeah,
like to play here.
sleep in the Holiday Inn instead of the Embassy Suites. Oh,
Yeah,
you not
yeah.
there you go. There you go. You messing
Yeah,
with
yeah.
people's
So
pocketbooks.
I think that should be something they should discuss, and that way that would cure that thing. Now, as far as the COVID thing, again, I think you're asking. I wouldn't say you're not asking a lot because I'm older and I'm more mature. I wouldn't wither away the experience. But again, man, like, you're asking 26-year-olds
Yeah.
to 19-year-old guys that are single, want to be out there doing their thing. They got some money in their pocket. They in every city. Every city they know, people know who they are. They got social media that knows where they at and all those good things going. They're not gonna follow the rules. They're being human. They're being young men. Period. They're being young men. They're being young, eligible, promiscuous men. Period. Let's be out there. They want to be in the club. They want to be party. They want to show their wealth. They want to be happy. What they feel is happy. I
Yeah.
think they could do it smarter, but unfortunately they're not doing it smarter. So I think the NBA needs to get a curb on that more so than anything.
Yeah,
The, the, the,
I think all the sports, bro.
yeah, all sports. Yeah, right. All sports.
But
Absolutely.
right now, yeah, the NBA is having the most problems with that. Yeah, haven't seen as much later in the season with football. You saw a lot of that a few months ago when everyone was still trying to figure out, yeah, how do I wear them? You saw coaches getting fined for not wearing masks properly. So
Yeah.
you saw a lot of that, but that seems to have been corrected now. So now we're at the tail end.
Yeah.
Let's go over to college. Let's go over to college. We got something happening tomorrow. We got a
Yes.
game happening tomorrow on the college football side. Shouts out to Alabama and Ohio State.
Absolutely.
What happened to Clemson, bro? What happened to that, bro?
Clemson, man. I think Ohio State was playing. This man, when you play with a chip in your shoulder and you come in, it's a whole different ball game. Again, like you said, you don't have that crowd or that energy coming in there. And I believe Ohio State just had a better game plan than Clemson. And without having that energy from the crowd and being there and all that stuff,
Yeah.
bro, Ohio the X's and O's was just a lot better than what Clemson had. Now, the one thing, I got to shout out to Chris Olave, receiver for Ohio State. That's my man. And then Najee Harris from Antioch, California, the running back for Alabama. That's the dude, too. Love them both. California boys. They both going to be representing in the championship. Got to give them a shout. But back to the scheme part, I think Ohio State had a better scheme. Now, going into this game Monday, Alabama's a whole different beast, man.
Ooh.
I'm just.
Coach Saban don't play. Look, Coach Saban recognize that when you got greatness in the room, and he can be all. I'm gonna say he can be calm in interviews, but then again, no, he's not calm because he'll call you something on camera and don't care about it. But
well, I mean, the man's legacy and pedigree of coaches that come from him, and the man's X's and O's and the people he has around him as far as football knowledge is probably second to none at the collegiate level.
Yeah.
And let's, like I said, man, whether you like him or hate him, you gotta give the man respect. The man wins football games, and he doesn't sell nothing unless you're in the championship. I don't think Alabama has not been in the playoffs since the playoffs started. They've been in there every year.
I see. Okay, that's a good trivia question, and maybe someone look that up for us. But I wouldn't doubt it, right? I wouldn't. I know that they have been. I wonder what their lowest seed has been because right now they are obviously the first
number one. Yeah, they're number one. But I mean, I think they've been in the playoffs since the playoffs started, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, think about that, man. This dude has been able to put together these types of teams, spend his recruiting money very wisely on getting and attracting these top players to come to Alabama, man. I don't know if anybody's ever been to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, but it ain't the most lively place in the world that you want to be. The only thing there is the school. The school is what's going on, and the town is pretty good. But I mean, that's not the ideal, and it amazes me how he's able to out recruit the Michigans, the USCs, the University of Texas, and all these other schools every year, and bringing that talent there because obviously you're at USC, you're in LA, you're in Hollywood.
Yeah,
everything's at your beck and call in the Hollywood realms, and he's able to out recruit. He's able to pluck guys from California to come there, like Najee here. So that's just an amazing thing. And as far as the game is concerned, man, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to see what Ohio State brings to a caliber team like Alabama, and then I'm really excited to see what Alabama's going to do to a team like Ohio because, bar none, Clemson gives Alabama fits every year, whether win, lose, or draw.
True.
And Ohio made Clemson look horrible. They outclassed Clemson in every way you possibly can in the game. They made Trevor Lawrence, who's supposed to be the god of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And coming out of college, they made him look very average. They made him look. Yeah, they made him look real average. You know what I mean? Very average as a quarterback. So that tells me right now that Ohio State's X's and O's and scheme is on point.
Yeah.
They're on point, so I think they're going to be on point against Alabama. And let's be honest, man. At the end, everybody puts the pants on one leg at a time. So it's man against man. All that the powers, the power ratings, and all that goes out the window. And I'm assuring you, Ohio State is in a position we are not afraid of Alabama. Now, no matter how good they think they are, or whatever, we're not going to be afraid of them. So we're going to go in this game and we're going to see if we can go ahead and get down with them.
Yeah,
I believe it's going to be a really competitive game. I think Alabama pulls it off at the end.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be because of Najee Harris. I think Najee Harris is kind of the X factor for them. The man. If Alabama gets the lead, he can carry the load to make sure they sustain that lead.
Okay.
But also on Ohio State side, if they get the lead, their running back ain't no joke either. Dude is a beast. I forgot his name slips my name right now, but he is a freaking beast running back. So I'm interested, man. It's going to be a clash of the Titans. Whoever wins.
I'm looking for, and I'm cheering. So I always root for underdogs, and I cheer for the story. Right. Unfortunately, the underdog in this one is Ohio State, but I can't do that. I can't go against Saban, and I can't go against this young brother that won the Heisman, Devonta Smith. Right. Yeah. This young kid, undersized, all his life playing sports. But he's 6'1", 175 wide receiver out there at Alabama, and he just won the Heisman over Trevor Lawrence, over his quarterback Mac Jones. And over the QB for Florida, right? So
Florida.
So he's a first one to win the Heisman as a wideout in about a decade, right? So that's an amazing feat right there. And I'm just wondering, watching his acceptance speech when he got the Heisman, the calmness, the fact that he's so poised, the fact that he's so focused on his job and his task at hand. I don't think it's too big for him. I think he's going to step into the game and actually have a decent game. But I just wonder how Ohio's going to plan for him, right? I think they're going to double team him. I think they're going to be all over him. They're going to try to lock him down a little bit because he's the spotlight. Devonta Smith's going to be the guy that Mac is going to be throwing to whatever he can. But again, you got all these other weapons, right? You got Mac, you got these other wideouts. Yeah. So we're going to see. But yeah, my money, I'm not going to put any money down, but my money is going to be on Alabama.
I think with Devonta Smith, like you said, I think the young man has an aura. And I told you about that before. I think he has a nice aura about him, a superstar quality aura about him. He seemed to be very humble and very appreciative of everything that's coming his way from him being young all the way to where he's at right now, being successful. I do think that he's going to have a pretty good game. I think he's going to go on to have a pretty good career in the NFL. I'd label him Deshaun Jackson 2.0. I think he's on that realm because of his size and his quickness. He's a guy that's going to play the Deshaun Jackson role. I think in the league, a deep threat that can stretch the field. But in this game right here, particularly, I think the keys for Ohio State is to make Alabama one-dimensional. Right now, Alabama's two-dimensional. They can either run you to death or they can throw the ball all over you, whichever way they want. And usually they stretch the field by going deep. If somehow Ohio State can limit that and make them one-dimensional, make them only do one thing good, that's going to take Alabama out of their game plan. And then now we should have a game on our hands. But let's be real. No one's been able to crack the Da Vinci Code yet, so I don't know if they're gonna be able to either. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like it's gonna be an easy task. It's easier for me to say that and be sitting in my chair than for them to kind of execute it and do it. I'm personally. Yeah, we're gonna see early. Man, I want Ohio State. I don't even know. Matter of fact, I want both to win because I don't really want to see them play because I like both teams so much. And like I said, I really favor the California boys on there, but I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna be rooting for Ohio State on this one. To be honest with you, I want my man from San Diego, Chris Olave. I hope him to, his story. If you like a story, his story is very compelling from his high school thing all the way getting to where he's at and the success he's having. I hope he continues to have that success. And if they don't win, I hope he has a big game. Period.
There you go. Right. Just go out there and represent. Don't close out the year and the season. Half effort. At least go out there and leave it all out there. Right.
Exactly. But Najee Harris, I hope Najee Harris from Antioch has a big game too, man. That brother, that young man, so amazing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's all good. That's it. Let me see here. Hold on. I got to pivot. I got to deviate right quick. Okay, it's about halftime.
Yeah. And my score gonna be around 42-14. I'm telling you, that's gonna be the end of the game.
I can't concentrate. We're trying to do a show. I can't concentrate because My team is just falling apart right now. What's on your mind while I try to get myself back together? I mean, we
Man,
talked about college football, NFL. We can talk about COVID. What's from a sports perspective, even the business of sports, right? Because I know you're heavily involved in a lot of those aspects, especially focusing with.
yeah, I mean, me, I try to just kind of keep my eye out on everything. I mean, I'm really excited. Let's shift to the NBA. I'm really excited where the NBA is going, even though they have these COVID issues. I was watching a thing where they're talking about expansion. So there's going to be, I think, two more new teams in the NBA in the coming near future. I'm excited about that because that gives us more cities, more professional sports, more opportunities, more openings. So I'm excited about that. And then also, I mean, I'm gonna shift on that one now. I'm gonna go back and forth. I'm a zigzag. I'm gonna shift back on NFL, and let's talk about the coaches. You know, the new coaching things that are there. And I would like to have a hard discussion why Eric Bieniemy is not being considered for every opening job that is
Okay.
available
Yeah. Yeah.
in the NFL. I mean, his record and his resume is probably impeccable and second to none of the coaches that are available out there. They want to talk about Urban Meyer and all that stuff, and Urban Meyer was a great college coach, but he's unproven in the NFL. Eric Bieniemy has been a valiant offensive coordinator for every team he's went to. He's proven to be a winner at every team he's went to. And the fact that they want to throw Urban Meyer's name in there as being the guy that's going to take over is kind of disheartening as a fan, as an African American man
Yes.
that we're not getting those opportunities. No, matter of fact, a lot of them being taken away because some of the, like San Diego's coach was fired, so that's one less
Yeah.
African American head coach that's in the helm. I'm kind of I'm bugging. I don't understand where they're going with this stuff about as far as giving more opportunity to these coaches to be able to coach.
Yeah.
That's what translates into. Let me finish. That's what
Yeah.
translates into the college realm too. I mean, how can we have all these colleges, but there's no African American? There's very few African American coaches in the college realm. There's coordinators and there's all that, but there's very few head
Mhm.
coaches in the college realm, especially in the Division I world. But what was funny is we usually make up anywhere from 60 to 80% of the team of African
Yeah.
American
Oh,
players.
definitely. Yes.
So why we're not getting opportunities there either? And I can't speak for other states, but then even in the state of California, we have the same issue at the
Mm.
high school level. We don't have a lot of African American head coaches at the high school level. No
And
matter where you go,
it's not that they're not out there, right? I mean, they're there. They're at varying levels, like you said. They're at coordinator levels. They're at
yeah,
whatever athletic trainers or whatever the case may be. They got the skill, but
yes,
I always think about when I talk to you about some of that stuff. I always think about the coach for the Miami Heat, uh,
oh,
Spoelstra,
yeah, yes,
right? He started in the film room.
hmm
Right? And now, for a while, he's been the head coach for the Heat and took them to a championship and all that with LeBron. But again, so someone like that can go from the film room. We got some of us that are out there on the field doing all of the X's and O's as well. Let us get in that interview room.
but what's funny about basketball is a little bit more progressive than football. I hate to say it because I love football to death. It's
Mhm.
my sport, but basketball has been progressive no matter what, even at every level. They've always implemented and went beyond and above. At the professional levels, Silverman is a great
Mhm.
their
Mhm.
guy. He's a great guy. He's always on the budding edge of whatever's going in the society. He's always supporting his players. He's always doing the things they do, and it translates into his game, the game of the NBA. That's why it's grown to be one of the biggest sports in the world. They're very progressive. Football is not. It seems like we're stagnant and they're stuck in the good old boy
Mm.
realm. From that, and it goes, like I said, it goes from high school. It goes from all the way to high school, all the way to the pros. We can be everything you want us to be, except for in charge.
Wow. Yeah, that's an interesting point that you make. And you're still doing some things behind the scenes to kind of
Oh,
bring more light to that, right? And I think that's a good segue in terms of
yeah.
what you're doing with NBA sports. Talk a little bit about what you're doing, just to again bring not just having these discussions offline, but just what are you doing also in your community and the folks that you work with? I know you work with a lot of
Yeah.
athletes and you work with a lot of schools as well with NBA
Mhm.
Sports.net. So talk about that, brother.
Yeah, so me, I'm trying to be an advocate definitely to bring Division II football back to the state of California at the state college level. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's very very important to have that mechanism to attract minority men to colleges in order for them to become professionals, not professional players or NFL players, but to become professionals in this world. Um, I think there's always mechanisms to attract every other race and every other person in there. And football is just one of the main things that go for us. Now
Yeah.
we have it at the Division 1 level very high. We have it at the USC's, UCLA's, what everyone hears about. We have it at the Division 1 AA level, which is the Cal Polys and UC Davis, which are really expensive private schools to go to. And the only one we have is Sac State, which is Division 1 AA, which is very impacted. You know what I mean? And what I mean by impacted, a lot of people apply there.
Yep.
They recruit regionally, so there's not a lot of spots. I want to bring it back to the Humboldt states, the Chico states, Sonoma states, Cal State Dominguez, uh, uh, um, San Marcos, and all the football should be at those schools because now more men of color will go to those schools. It'll do a couple of things. It will not only have them play football, it will give them the mechanism to want them to go to those schools, the mechanism for them to be retained in their schools, and the mechanism for them to graduate in their schools. Plus, it increases the schools' diversity, which we all know if you have a lot more diversity and inclusion, it creates innovation. Period. It's a no brainer. So I'm fighting to bring that back to the state of California. I don't know what goes on in other states. I don't live in other states, but I live here. And I know that was a mechanism that drove me to go to Humboldt State. It drew me to stay in Humboldt State and drew me to graduate. Also, all of my friends. And now we look 20 years later, me and all my friends were very successful. You know, we got guys that are owning businesses or they're executives or analysts in businesses. Those are the professionals we should become. We should be inspired to go to these schools, be attracted to go there, and then now we can go work in these firms in the finance department, work in these firms as accounting, work as directors in movies, work in agricultural and develop things in science and all that stuff. But football is that mechanism that draws us there. And when you cut off that mechanism to attract them and they don't go, now we have in our communities we have a lot less educated men in our community of color that would have won if they were football. Or though the alternative is from they have to go way far out of state to play football, and they lose that family support set mechanism. They have to go out of state, and people are not there to support them while they go through the transition of being an adult. Which we know in college is what you do. You become a transition from being a young man to an adult. So, though that's like my biggest man. That's been my baby. I'm trying to work on. I'm still trying to get off the ground. I'm still trying to spread the word. Still trying to grab people's ear so they can hear that message. So they can get behind me and support it. Now I know the state of California is in a financial disarray and that costs money, but I also know the state schools get money for based on their enrollment. So my question is, why would you cut 120 men that would positively enroll in your school if they bring money to your school? If you're gonna cut, why don't you cut something else? Cut the art department. They ain't bringing no money to the school if that's the
Watch
case.
out! No, no, no,
No,
no.
but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But if you're gonna cut something, go cut physics. They not. I mean, if you're gonna cut things, if you're saying it's a budget issue and an expense issue, then you should cut it all the way. You should trim all the fat everywhere. You just don't trim it in that one area because you feel that's the easiest one to trim. And I also think the mindset from expense needs to be invest. When you have a football program and you're bringing these minorities in your school, you're investing into your school. You're investing into these people being progressive. You're investing into their wealth, their family wealth, their legacy wealth. You're investing in all that when you have football and have these young men there. I know it's just football and the sports, and you said that's not something that people have to. It's not that you need to have to go to college, but I believe that is a true mechanism to attract. Jacksonville's doing it the greatest. Look at Deion Sanders. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm the voice of here. I'm attracting guys here. My Jackson State is synonymous right now with Grambling State as far as a notoriety point. When would we ever thought that would be?
That's
No
true.
one. We never heard of. If you said HBCU, you say Grambling, Southern, Clark and Atlanta. You would say one of those. You would never say Jackson State. Now,
Yeah.
Jackson State is mentioned in that conversation, and what that does, that draws out of state tuition because people want to go there. That draws up enrollment. That means the state of Mississippi is going to give Jackson State money for every student that goes to their school.
I'm glad you went into detail on that, right? Because I know we talked about that at one time on the athlete show that we did on ITN Live, and I still have the action about it, right? Because I think what I want to do is to continue to help drive that message. I think this is going to be the forum to drive more of that message around the economics of sports and the value of sport. I mean that's a good debate conversation to have, right? Because you start talking about what in terms of a curriculum needs to be trimmed, adjusted, cut, whatever it may be. Someone sitting in those administrative rooms is going to have to make that decision.
And to add on that, James,
Yeah.
it should be at the state level for Division II. I'm preaching it should be non-scholarship as of right now. And why I say non-scholarship in state schools is because one, people will still go, If you qualify for Pell and you qualify for Crowd Grant A or B,
Yeah.
it covers just about 80% of your tuition right there on point. So if you get 5,000 for Pell, you
Yeah.
get another couple $100 or a couple $1,000 for Cal Grant A and B. That's already half your net. If it cuts to 16,000, you've already got half of that there.
Okay.
You couple that with a couple of grants that are with it that are already given throughout every school.
Yeah.
They can give to every football person. That covers at least 60 to 80% of your cost already at the school. So
Right.
if it's non-scholarship, that way we don't interfere with the Title IX. We have time. If you bring football back, we're not battling the Title IX issue. We're battling. Hey, we still have this mechanism to attract men of color to come to our school. And what I mean by men of color, I'm not just saying black. I'm saying brown, which means Latino, Polynesian, Filipino, so on down the line. We want to be able to bring all those mechanisms to a university to be able to play sports that attracts them. And let's be able to have that kind of dynamic, because in your community, at the end of the day, you don't want the cutoff to be you as the only African American man. Or if your son plays football, there's nowhere for him to go, or no for him to continue to play after he graduates from high school. So that's it, man.
No, the fact that you've done that research, right? Because those are going to be the hard questions that are going to be asked of someone like you bringing up this type of a conversation when we get in that room.
Yeah.
Right. And you've done that research. So again, we're going to continue to have that conversation. I'm gonna do my due diligence and work with you to help to bring those folks probably to this forum. Folks watching, folks listening, if they've got any resources in not just California, we just talking about California because we know California, but if there's folks that are in other states and whatever who have some connections within the educational system, the collegiate within the high school, that type of thing, let's have that dialogue, let's have that conversation. And reach out to us so we can bring you on the show and have that conversation. We like to have those awkward, hard conversations because at the end of the day, that's the only way that we're gonna make any change, right? And we want
yes, sir.
Positive change. So, I like that. You took man. Hold on, you took us down. We got a little righteous there with some conversations there. We didn't get political, which we could have, but we were thinking about it. But maybe we'll say that but I do like the fact that that's the kind of conversations that we want to have on this show, though, right? We want to talk real. Yeah, we can talk sports and in terms of score, injury reports, and we can talk about who can throw the ball the fastest and the hardest and the longest. But let's talk about what really matters to the athlete, the fan, everyone participating from all aspects of it, because sports really does touch society as a whole.
I truly believe we need. Yeah, it needs to be the shift needs to be to educate and community, and then us sports. We learn sports on top of it as the frosting. Our cake is community, and all that stuff, and then we layer the sports as the frosting to kind of bring everything together. I truly believe that there's so many dynamics that are there that can provide these avenues to make all of us successful.
Yeah.
I think sports is that breeding ground where we're taught so many life skills that's unbelievable within our realm of sports. But once you start cutting off those mechanisms, man, now you're isolating one group out, and then now we're in a whole different realm. So I mean, I'm looking forward to having these conversations. I want to have the awkward conversations. I want to see it through somebody else's lens.
Yeah.
I want somebody to tell me them wrong so we can dispute it and we can come to a mutual agreement, either to disagree. But I really love to have those awkward conversations with whoever was willing to have it.
Because having those conversations ahead of time is the right way to do that. That prevents us from having issues like have happened this past week on the East Coast at a building where some things should not have happened. And I'll be very vague. I'll leave it at that. Right. So if grown folks would actually sit around and talk and understand that there are going to be some differences, there should be some constructive debate, but do it the right way as opposed to inciting violence instead of inciting.
Fear and terror,
fear, terror, negative behavior, things like that. Then you go over the line. But I think in anything we want to have constructive conversations so we can actually drive positive change. Brother Montell, how you think we did, man? This was the pilot. We do okay?
I'm loving it, man. I'm loving to be able to discuss, all avenues of sports with my man. Representing both ends of California. You northern, I'm southern. We've been able to, take our perspectives on both, and give it to the world. And like I said, I hope more people chime in. And like I said, I like having those conversations,
Yeah,
the uncomfortable things, even if it's just disagreement in sports. Just have those conversations with people because, you're gonna show me something that I wasn't probably originally looking at, and hopefully I can show you something that you weren't looking at,
definitely.
and then the at the very least we got knowledge.
Yes. Look, I never want to be. I'm not the smartest person in the room at all. I never want to. If I am, then I'm in the wrong room.
Yep,
Right.
absolutely,
I'm
absolutely.
always trying to soak it up. So I think folks watching, folks that are going to be listening as well to the podcast, this is how we gonna come every Sunday, 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We just gonna come chop it up. We're gonna talk about the weekly events from a sporting perspective. So next week we're going to talk about how either Ohio State or how Alabama beat up on themselves, on each other. We're going to hopefully talk about my Steelers winning this game. And we're going to talk about what's next from the divisional playoffs perspective, obviously, for football. What we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about, see what's going on with this COVID lockdown in the NBA because they have some problems with that. But, I think we need to we're gonna open it up too. So man, hey,
Mhm.
Olympics, hockey, soccer, everything is out there and it's relevant. We're gonna find a way to bring that into the community, and then also talk about not just what's on not just what's on the field or the pitch or the diamond, but how that relates to community, how that relates to society, and how that relates to kind of positive outcomes for everybody involved.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself, my man. Not
Well,
at
see,
all.
I
Salute.
wrote it down. So I did that. That wasn't just off the dome. I did write it down ahead of time.
Okay. So you got a little bit on there, but I was about to
Yes,
say, man,
sir.
that was cold right there.
I'm over here looking at my Evernote notes. Shout out to
Uh,
Evernote for keeping me on point, on task.
I hear you. Yeah.
Bro, be good to yourself. Thank you for this time. Thank you for this event. I think we did a great job. We will continue to do this again, folks. Hit us up with any ideas, any suggestions, format, questions about how we should do this. Again, every time, folks, I'm gonna put the link up there, and we're gonna have the opportunity for anyone who feels brave enough to join us on camera to chop it up with us. Let's get it in. So that being said, Brother Montell, have a good night. Take care of yourself. Take care of the family, and I'll holler at you next week.
Yep. Salute. All right.